Well, hello, my baby gorillas, and let's see what we've got here. Apologies for the delay. We've got issues on multiple fronts here. So I thought I'm just going to do this very quickly. Restore chat. Just do this very quickly. This is not a long. Oh, there's the camera frozen already. Oh my goodness, honestly. Oh no, it's still going. So I thought I would just take you into the back end of what's actually happening here. And let's go on here. And let's see how even now YouTube is trying to silence any voices, any dissenting voices. So just take you into the back end and go into my dashboard. I've obviously been banned for 2 weeks, so that's why I've not been able to talk to you directly. And I thought it was very interesting. It's now working, David. That's great. Thanks very much for letting us know. This is live streaming through the computer, and if I'm looking to the left, that's the computer. I'm changing the setup here, and we'll soon get the green screen back. So I've been stopped from live streaming for 2 weeks now, so that's why I haven't been able to talk to you guys and give you more of the insights. So way down to Telford tomorrow to see what Tommy Robinson is saying with regards to grooming gangs in Telford, and we'll be live streaming and finding out what he seems to have done quite a bit of research on what's actually happening in Telford. Brilliant. A ban is amazing. Means you're doing something right. Yeah, that's right. I agree. That's exactly right. So let's have a look here. So if I get just one more strike, it will result in the permanent removal of your channel. So the YouTube will be deleted. Obviously, my LinkedIn profile has been taken down. My Facebooks have been taken down. I believe that this has been government, British government, as well as working with Silicon Valley. We're already seeing the moves, even we Nippy moving towards a very authoritarian state of governance. So content unavailable. So they've removed one of the live streams. I believe you can get it and still get that in Rumble. That's been taken off. This wee Nippy could be going to jail. I got 31 likes. Medical misinformation. I don't claim to know anything medical about it. So I don't know anything medical. I don't give medical advice because it's not my field of expertise. So I don't know why it would be medical misinformation, because I don't claim to be a medical expert. So I'm not giving medical advice because I'm not a medical expert. All I was suggesting was there was other things that were actually happening that were a bit strange. So as I said, I'm not a medical expert. So this is a strike from this. This is under appeal, and obviously wee Nippy's obviously a globalist shill, as we all know. And this one has been appeal rejected. So that was a strike again under medical misinformation. I've never given any medical information because I don't know anything about medicine. So, but there's certain things that are happening that are not being addressed. And there was something else that was taken down, currently unavailable. That's up on Rumble as well. I think that was about communism and how it's killed so many people. So I'm not sure why YouTube's wanting to bring that down. But we can see here the UK Reform Party in third place at Old Bexley in Spain. And the medical misinformation is still under appeal. As I said, I didn't give any medical information, and could wee Nippy be going to jail as the appeal is still there and it's still to be adjudicated on, apparently. And then there was a third video taken down as well. So we've had two of the three community strikes. Just one more strike will result in permanent removal of your channel, which is not very nice. Foreign companies in Silicon Valley deciding what in Scotland we can and cannot hear. This is not really anything to do with them. Your content was removed due to violations of the community guidelines. Again, we know what that is because this is medical misinformation. Strikes expire in 90 days. And deleting the video will not remove the strike. I don't really want to delete the video because I don't think there was anything wrong with the video for it in itself. So we're away down to you're standing up against the narrative, buddy, and that's why you're a target. Of course it is. Of course, anybody with half a brain actually knows that that's the correct analysis, and people who watch the Guerilla TV channel understand that. And that's where I get persecuted. I've been persecuted before, and it wasn't obvious, but it's now obvious that there is state-sanctioned political persecution. Not only that, state-sanctioned racism against white people, where white people are allowed to be discriminated against in jobs now. So we are actually now literally getting treated as second-class citizens. And this is the situation we find, and then they try and ban anybody. Even Joe Rogan's getting that guy Michael, never heard of him, some singer trying to remove his stuff and be very authoritarian on Spotify. So we already know that this is happening. The channel might get nuked by YouTube, Silicon Valley, but what comes around goes around, so I'd be very careful what you wish for, because the shoe might be on another foot one day, and there might be a change in how we perceive these companies in our country. They're here not because they've got a right to be here, they're here because we allow them to be here. So it's very important that if they're interfering in Scottish politics, which regardless of whether you like it or not, I'm a Scottish politician. Welcome to the world of Tommy Robinson. Yeah, that's right. Of course it is. Of course, it's the world of Tommy Robinson. Yeah. It's Tommy Robinson said it really hard for speaking out against the rape of children. So we'll be very interested to go down and find out. But obviously, I don't really know Tommy Robinson. I think there's this perception in the media that Tommy Robinson and I are great friends. I've only very briefly talked to him twice. So I obviously went down because he was being persecuted. And that was, we always, regardless of somebody's political persuasion, if they're being politically persecuted, the Guerilla TV channel will go down and allow them to speak. Start another few channels and play whack-a-mole with them. Well, we're already on Rumble, we're already on Getter, Gab, we're on other media profiles, and very soon we're going to have our own, the guerillatvchannel.com is going to be where you guys will be able to interact, and I won't feel as disheartened trying to live stream through YouTube as I will when I'm actually live streaming through my own website, and you guys will be able to interact with me, and the comments won't be taken away, and the likes and dislikes won't be taken away, and I'll be able to interact with you, and I'll be regular on my podcast. This is all changing, the green screen's coming in, so we're going to really improve what's actually happening, improving in the live streaming as well. So we've got a number of things that will happen. The quality of the actual things that we broadcast through will improve. So we've got a number of things that are actually going to happen. There's a lot of money's been spent on this to actually get it to the stage where we can actually then bring you out products, and hopefully we will get some sort of just minuscule charging. But if we can start to accumulate some money, we'll use the money. No money will go to me, but it'll go to improve the product to you. But yeah, that's right. They obviously know, and bigger things are about to happen as well. But it'll be very interesting to see the guys. I've not obviously seen the guys that were down when Tommy Robinson was put in jail, and letting Tommy Robinson out when he was getting political support all over the place. Sounds good, thanks. Are you getting a wee cheeky corner later? No. Well, I don't know. Might have a wee cheeky corner later, but yeah, I'm not quite sure if I'm going to get a corner, but I'll certainly get something. But yeah, we've got some very distressing things that are happening, both at state level through wee Nippy in Scotland. I mean, she's just been the worst First Minister we've had. And I mean, she's a postmodernist Marxist, intersectional Marxist, feminist, alleged lesbian, beats up her girlfriend. And once you understand that that's her political part of the compass, that she's obviously taken on board the Frankfurt School, and however that's infiltrated into Scottish education as well, and the Paris School, that postmodernist Marxism, racist, anti-white Marxism, that she seems to have a big gripe. And I'll just put up this, because I saw this yesterday. I thought this was quite interesting. Let me try and get this up. Yeah, so, and my friend here is exactly correct. He's absolutely on the ball. From the family party. And I put correct. It might be understandable if she's a lesbian that has allegedly beaten up her girlfriend. 16 likes already. So, let's just have a listen to my friend here, and we will see what he's saying, which is correct. But if what I just said to you, if you roll everything into one, he's correct as well. She seems to be a man here like Joanna Cherry, another TERF lesbian, whereas wee Nippy's an intersectional lesbian.
Nicola Sturgeon is a sexist. It's just a fact. This is the latest evidence. She said, I often think the world would be a much better place if it were ruled by women.
Well, not that she's done... Not that she's done a very... I'm going to put that up again. Not that she's done a very good job of ruling, I have to say. Largest number of deaths, drug deaths, alcohol deaths, locked us in our home for 2 years. I mean, she's been a disaster.
Nicola Sturgeon is a sexist. It's just a fact. This is the latest evidence.
But I would say she's an anti-white racist as well.
I often think the world would be a much better place if it were...
Which is understandable if she is an intersectionalist, which I think she is, and a globalist shell, certainly not a nationalist.
Ruled by women, not ruled by competent people.
And if you look at Linda Ardern, disaster, terrible. Palpatine, old Angela Merkel, terrible. I mean, they've all been terrible. They've not been good. And I don't think all women who may eventually lead are terrible, but because of these women's ideologies, because they're globalist shells, because they are far left, including Merkel, although she was the Christian Democrat, she was a communist.
With various qualities ruled by women. She just thinks women are better. Right, let's just look at a couple of definitions of sexism. Belief that one sex is intrinsically superior to the other. Tick.
Don't forget, that's what Humza Useless did. Humza Useless did the intersectional thing where only white men, especially white straight men, were not included, and they're even an ethnic minority in Scotland just now already.
The belief that members of one sex are less intelligent.
Not that I believe in white or black or any of that nonsense as well, and it's interesting that Dopey Joe Biden is wanting a black woman in the High Court, which I don't mind somebody who is of African descent being a Supreme Judge if they've earned it. That's not an issue. If they've got somebody, or if they've got to bring somebody through. But I think who Dopey Joe brings through is another intersectionalist.
Able, skillful, etc., the members of the other sex. Tick. But look what else she said. She said women in senior positions, by and large, they're better than their equivalent man. I mean, it's obvious what she's doing here. She's trying to win the votes of women. I mean, maybe there are enough women out there who are caught up in the battle of the sexist mentality.
Well, I didn't actually understand this. I thought, and also I'll come on to the Lotus Eaters in a minute, but I didn't understand that this sort of level of postmodernist Marxist hostility in the battle of the sexes, that was almost leading into misandry.
Effective electoral strategy. I really don't know. But where are the men? Where are the men in the SNP? Where are the MSPs to challenge this anti-male sexism?
Yeah, they've all shut up. They're all bitches. They're beaters.
I think they're just cowards. They daren't challenge it. I could just imagine if they did. If someone stood up in the Parliament and challenged Nicola Sturgeon about this, I can imagine her replying, saying something like, "Oh, that's just a typical insecure man." I mean, it doesn't need to be a man, obviously, or it could be a woman in the Parliament. Surely there are some people in there who can realise that this is just sexism being manifest. But why don't they say, to be honest, I think the reason is just simply weakness. So you might think, so what? We've got an anti-male sexist as the First Minister. What difference?
Well, what difference it makes is she's bringing in sexist policies. She's exactly like the Nazis. The only difference between Nicola Sturgeon is that she's bringing in policies that discriminate against white straight men, and basically bringing in ethnic replacement through the use of mass immigration. And Hitler obviously had policies against the Jews, so there is no difference. The only difference is that she's bringing discriminatory policies against white straight men, which makes sense if she's a lesbian.
Well, it actually makes a lot of difference in a lot of areas. I mean, for example, if you imagine you're living in a group of children, some young boys, some young girls, Nicola Sturgeon would be thinking, "Oh, the girls, I hope one of those becomes First Minister," or the boys, "Oh, we don't want one of them." And that message comes through in society. So in schools,
Richard was the most viewed leader of any of the political parties so far. I've got another couple hopefully coming on board. I'll have to get that sorted out. Hopefully next week, once I get another couple of things sorted out, we'll get the leaders on. And that'll make a hell of a difference.
Run by the SNP and Nicola Sturgeon's government. They're doing everything to promote girls. Girls are special. Girls can do anything. Girls go on to leadership positions. Boys.
But not for girls like Nicola Sturgeon to have children. We've got all these girls who are expected to get degrees, and I certainly have got no problem with women getting on, but we've got a disproportionate number of women that are now at university. But there's nothing said about that. But we've also got these women not reproducing. So getting degrees, getting that, but they seem to not want to go out on dates or not doing anything to actually go out on dates and having a stable relationship where they're actually reproducing. So they're becoming that intelligent and they've stopped breeding and they're basically going to die out. If they're not having 3 or more children, then we've got a declining population. And Wee Nippy's only solution to that is population replacement through open door immigration.
They just don't embody toxic masculinity. They need to step aside.
Well, I guess you would think toxic masculinity if you were a lesbian, because you would think everything, even though that you probably exhibit masculine traits like Nicola Sturgeon, like Joanna Cherry, and that the other men, even though they're women, because they're lesbians, other men are a threat to them, and what they see as what they would be is reproducing, which they're not going to reproduce because they need a man, but obviously they've got a predisposition not to be interested in men. But what they're doing, like there's a thing called political lesbianism, where you're a lesbian because you think men are oppressive under the Marxist oppression and oppressed oppressor synopsis. But Wee Nippy's not had any kids. And here's Joanna Cherry, because if you get penisophobia and you're a lesbian, then you're not going to get any kids unless you artificially inseminate, like Ruth Davison. At least Ruth Davison's had 1 kid, but you need to have at least 3. But all of this emphasis on, A, they're taking away jobs for the men, so the men then don't get to get a higher status. Then the women want men with a higher status, although they still want to be in the high status jobs themselves. So that's an even reduced gene pool. So a small number of men are then having sex with a large number of women, and which is would almost lead to inbreeding.
It needs to be a bit more like those nice girls. So it's just a fact. Nicola Sturgeon is a sexist.
Yes, that's correct. Nicola Sturgeon is a man-hating, especially straight white men-hating spinster, basically. She's not produced any kids, who allegedly beats up her girlfriend.
And more than that, she is a female supremacist.
Yeah.
Which in my book is about as respectable a view as being a white supremacist.
Yeah. That's it, and not produced any kids. So let's see the fetus eaters, our friends over the lotus eaters, because they've just talked about exactly almost the same thing. Let's share young Callum. There we go. And these guys are correct. Every one of these commentators
Hi guys,
is correct.
if you're watching this video now, then it means that you are.
So let's get a call out to the Lucas Eaters and.
So the great thing.
So this is called the demographic time bomb is about to explode, and I guess bringing in Muslims to rape children, which we'll find out tomorrow down in Telford, is certainly one way of actually maybe fighting against the demographic time bomb, and for the Labour Party and the Conservative Party. Although I would suggest that this actually goes against, this is population replacement, which goes against the UN's Compact and Genocide. And also, if you're being that misandrist and anti-men like Nicola Sturgeon while not reproducing, maybe we should tax women who don't reproduce like 50% on that as a tax rate. So there's more of an incentive to reproduce and give tax incentives to women who have got 3 or more children. So this is the demographic time bomb, the podcast of the Lotus Easters today on the 28th of January.
Thing about being in
trend of making sure old people live longer.
So here we go. This is
the demographic time
bomb. Callum, and obviously Callum and Carol.
In the UK is about to explode, and this has finally made it to the mainstream media. So I thought we'd talk about what I think might be the reasons for this happening, and just go through the statistics. Most of these will be coming from the Office of National Statistics. So when people are like, well, where did you find out that X amount of this is happening in Y area? Well, from the government. This is just the official statistics that everyone uses in this country. So that's why. So anyway, let's begin with women. Because it's their fault.
I don't think it's their fault. But what we're getting the messaging from alleged lesbian First Minister is that women should be superior, even though Nicola Sturgeon has been incompetent. She's not been competent as a First Leader, completely incompetent. The only reason she's staying in power is because of the nationalist vote. And as I told you, there's not going to be a referendum before this side of a general election. I told you she's not going to do it. And every one of her policies is adversely affecting the Scottish population to the extent where we've got the highest number of drinking drug death rates in history, as far as I'm aware, under Nicola Sturgeon. So, I mean,
women, no, I'm joking. But
so women are expected now to go and get careers, go and get, and no emphasis put on reproduction. Nicola Sturgeon is now going to die out. All of the generations that went before her are now going to die out with Nicola Sturgeon because Nicola Sturgeon has failed to reproduce. She's failed to surrogate. She's failed to have surrogate. She's failed to give her eggs to somebody else. God knows why everyone knows them, but she could have adopted. She could have artificial insemination like Ruth Davison if she's a lesbian. There's so many things she could have done, and now she's going to die out. She's got 20, 30 years left, 40 years, 50 years, if she lives to 150 years left. But now it's pointless because she will not be able to reproduce. So she is now evolutionary a dead duck.
Well, women are a part of the problem.
And everything that went before her is now finished.
Well, men are, of course, part of the problem as well. In fact, the lack of relationships that men and women are engaging in is, in fact, one of the problems. But anyway, interestingly, women are the majority of university students now. 37% of young women will now go to university.
Or 37% of young women will go to university, right? Because it didn't make sense. I was thinking 37% of women were at university, but I think they make a disproportionate. So the university gender gap at record high is 30,000 more women are accepted.
Compared to something like 30% of young men. And this.
So women are 7%. So they don't talk about that in the gender pay gap nonsense that they keep pumping out.
It's a trend that's been going up. And it doesn't seem to have any sign of slowing down. This was in 2017.
And bear in mind that I've been discriminated against throughout my education because of the failure to identify my specific learning difficulties. So that's not taken into consideration by UNIPE or university acceptance. My lifetime has been through a prism of not being identified with the specific learning difficulties, which would have made a hell of a difference to my education right the way through.
30,000 more women than men, and this is just carrying on. And this dovetails with the fact that marriage rates are, of course, the lowest on record. If we go to the next.
So that's a disaster again, another disaster. So all of the policies you could reverse from what Wee Nippy's doing, because none of the things that they're doing, including the Conservative Party, none of the things that they're doing is correct.
Next one. You can see this from 2018. Marriage rates for opposite-sex couples are the lowest on record, while the total number of marriages fell for the third.
There were 234,795 marriages in England and Wales in 2018, a decrease of 3.3% compared to 2017, and the lowest since 2009. Marriage rates for opposite sex in 2018 were the lowest on record at 21.1% per 1,000 unmarried men and 18.6% marriages per 1,000 unmarried women. In 2018, there were 6,925 marriages between same-sex couples, with 57.2% between female couples and 803 same-sex converted their civil partnerships into marriage. Around a fifth, 21.1% of opposite-sex marriages in 2018 were religious ceremonies, the lowest on record. In contrast, religious ceremonies accounted for only 0.9% of same-sex marriages. In 2018, the average age at marriage for opposite-sex couples was 38.1 years for men and 35.8 years for women. The same-sex couples, the average ages at marriage were 40.4 years and 36.9 years respectively.
Consecutive year in a row. This is the latest data I've got from the ONS as well. And so this is just an overall decline, with people choosing to get married at much later ages, particularly.
Now, I mean, I'm a supporter of the not LGBT community, but people who are homosexuals. I think the LGBT thing is a complete left-wing group, like Black Lives Matter, a quasi-Marxist group. But I support gay rights and things like that, being a libertarian liberal. But the question is, what's the responsibility of the and I'm going to call it the gay community rather than the LGBT community, but the gay community in reproduction and having figures. If you've got vaginophobia or penisophobia if you're a lesbian, and vaginophobia if you're a gay couple, a male homosexual couple, how are you going to reproduce, and what is your responsibilities, and why would you give people who weren't going to reproduce jobs where we've got a declining population and we have to actually increase the birth rate? So they would be better going to heterosexual people or gay people who are prepared to actually reproduce. And what are the rights for the gay community in reproduction if you've got penisophobia? And we saw that Wee Nippy is actually stopping reproductive rights for people who haven't taken the COVID vaccine. It's absolutely disgusting.
Those aged 65 and over. Imagine getting married in your 60s.
I mean, that's just sort of fun at that point, isn't it?
Well, it's just for companionship at that point, I imagine. I suppose so. But the point is, it's not producing children at that sort of age.
Nor is Wee Nippy.
And so we have arrived at the position now where we have a record number of women 30 years old who do not have children. And more than half of women...
They're probably too busy university and up to their ass in debt.
In England and Wales, born
and then getting their career, none of which is going to actually increase the birth rate.
1990, without a child when they turn 30 in 2020. This is the first generation to do so, according to the ONS. And at the same time, the average number of children women have by the time they reach 30 has also fallen to its lowest ever level, which is 0.96. Less than one child per woman.
Which you need to have 3 or more to actually increase the birth rate, or increase the birth rate or keep it the same. So we've now got a declining population, and the only thing that both the Tories, the Lib Lab Con Party, the SNP want to do is immigration replacement.
That's not good.
I mean, it's horrific.
Yes.
I mean,
Considering
being below replacement rate is bad.
And how are you going to tell? And it's increasingly more any heterosexual thing. Nippi's trying to outlaw any interaction between heterosexual men and women. She's doing anything she can to reduce the Scottish population.
Yes, considering they need to have had 2.1 children.
She's the antithesis of a Scottish nationalist.
On average, for the population to just remain stable. This is a dramatic demographic collapse that we are staring at here.
Sick. Sorry about that.
So among women who turned 45 last year, almost 1 in 5 were without children. A big rise compared to 13% in their mother's generation.
Let me just check if I'm still on here. Yeah, we're on. We're on. What are you guys saying? I see this redacting. I'm getting sick of these guys as well, redacting statements. Hums are useless as a beta. Beta. Well, I'm surprised it's taking you this long to reach the cliff of Bandom. Cliff of Bandom. I don't know what Bandom. I don't know what that is. The real world is going Tonto. It is because of authoritarian women like Sturgeon. Yes, yes. Yes. Sounds good, David. Thanks for getting a wee cheeky corner. I know. That's right. Well, that's right, guys. Where are we? Where are they? Where are they?
Aaron. So you can see exactly how this is happening. You see there's the chart. If you go down a little bit, just so you can see, that's from 1940s, where it peaked with the baby boomers, and woof, it's off a cliff. What caused that, do you think?
Cultural changes?
What year was birth control introduced, Callum?
I have no idea.
It was around the 60s.
Yeah.
So generally a bit of a decline then, but just saying. Anyway, and it's you are right though, the cultural attitudes as well are a part of it.
And Nicola Sturgeon stopping, disgustingly stopping reproductive rights for people who aren't prepared to take the COVID. I mean, honestly, I don't understand how this works for them.
Obstetrician and Vice President of the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists said, choosing when to have children is a personal decision that should be fully respected and supported, as should the decision to have no children. No. Shame those women who do not have children.
Tax them.
Because this is going to cause us massive problems in the future. You have a duty to have children, which I will expound at length another time. But just put a pin in that. We're coming back to you have an obligation to have kids, women, right? And men, so don't think you're off the hook.
I totally agree. But also, if they're taking the jobs, if there's more women in the jobs that the men were doing, and there's a disproportionate number of women going to university, and then they're looking for people who are higher up the food chain, they've just reduced the number of men that they would actually see then as acceptable suitors. And now we're bringing in situations where you're going to be racially discriminated against if you're white in employment. Thanks to intersectionality.
People should bear in mind that natural fertility starts to decline from the age of 35, and later pregnancy involves an increased risk of complications, including it takes long to get pregnant, fertility problems, and high risk of miscarriage. Yeah, don't waste your time. Right? Don't sit around thinking, I'll have kids when I'm 40. No, you won't. It's actually much more unlikely that you will. And the thing is, so we've got a bunch of highly educated, unmarried, childless women
who are doing the jobs that the men used to do.
Eating themselves out of existence. Well, this is literally
looking for the higher obtaining males who are becoming less and less because more and more women are doing a disproportionate women are now doing the jobs. And like Nicola Sturgeon, not doing in the positions of electoral power, not doing the jobs very well.
Be the plot of idiocracy.
Unbreeding, almost.
Well, yes, unbreeding.
You know, Nicola Sturgeon, unbreeding.
Cells out of existence. This is literally the plot of idiocracy. where literally the intelligent people are like, oh, well, we're going to wait, and then suddenly it's too late. And this happens all the time. We've covered it loads of different times on the podcast. And of course, the less smart people are not doing this. They're having big broods. And so we've arrived at the point now where we've got almost over a third, coming on half of the population that are degree holders, and they're having fewer and fewer children.
Brilliant, great. Smart women are breeding themselves out of existence. Very clever.
Dramatically fewer. And so now we've arrived at the point where deaths have overtaken births. We are officially a declining population. And this is in the Times. This is not like some radical fringe Nazi publication or something. This is... they always say...
Birth rate and death rate is the exclusive domain of the Nazis.
Oh, they always say that's an alt-right talking point. It's like, no, that's a fact,
Yeah.
So, let's go into Twitter. Let's see if we've got it here. I don't know if that wee guy's... There was a wee young fellow in Twitter that said, if the SNP don't give... Yeah, I don't think that's it. Anyway, so I just wanted, this is a quick one, just to say I'm back. Get on Getter, I'm already on Getter, Elizabeth, so you'll be able to follow me on there as well. Difficulty is, I don't know where I'm going to live stream, because I don't think I'm going to live stream through YouTube. I've obviously got the 90 days, which would take us on to January, February, March, April, so end of April. Before these other two strikes are up, or sometime in April, or the channel will get nuked anyway. So we're on Rumble, we're on Gab, we're on Minds. You will get us on other things, but if they nuke, a lot of the links are onto this as well. We're on BitChute as well, so we're on various podcasts as well, and another things, so we'll other sites. So yeah, it's all in the description, so if you just go into the description you'll be able to find it. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you. Look out for tomorrow. Anybody that's going down to Telford tomorrow, 2 p.m, I think it's starting or thereabouts, so it'll be very interesting to see the Rape of Britain. I don't know how I'm going to live stream it, so it'll be very interesting to find out what platform I can actually live stream through, or if I've got to record it. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I might have to record it and not live stream it. But yeah, very interesting. They blew up Tommy Robinson's car and they attacked with baseball bats. This couple, I don't think they'll be doing anything tomorrow. I think tomorrow will be absolutely chocker. The people come from all over the place. Scotland will be a massive turnout, I think, tomorrow. So, those who are going to Telford will be reporting from Telford, and we'll be speaking to you guys later on. I'm not sure whether I'm going to upload it to YouTube. They've just, it's obviously not a free speech platform anymore. They've tried to ban Joe Rogan with some 200 people who weren't doctors as well. So, and Spotify. It's just absolutely disgusting. Anyway, I love my baby gorillas. I hope that came through okay. It's just the mic on the microphone, and I'm going to love you and leave you at that.